Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're doing our TV episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's serving the Empire with me tonight?
I am Joe Butler, and you'll never believe how I became that thing in the past.
And hey, it's fleshed out minor character Karuseta, Kerry.
And this is Admiral Bakuil, Jody. How you doing?
Oh, welcome back, all you guys. And we are doing an episode that took me years to finally make it happen. Even though I've been talking about doing it for over 2. So we are going to take a look at Tales of the Jedi, and then in the back half of this episode, we're going to take a look at Tales of the Empire, which was essentially season 2 of what was of the Tales.
Yeah.
But they marketed as like a different show.
Yeah, it's like a completely separate show in Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, you know Disney.
Style.
You know Disney. You know, you have Mandalorian 1, Mandalorian Season 2, The Book of Boba Fett, with our favorite main character, the Mandalorian, and then Mandalorian Season 3, and then Ahsoka, also known as Mandalorian Season 4.
Mando's not in Ahsoka, though, so Ahsoka's his own thing.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
Ahsoka.
that's
I just
spinoff. Yeah,
I haven't seen Ahsoka. I just assumed. I heard Boba Fett did that, so I thought it was funny.
He has 2 episodes.
yes,
and he's in the
Boba
end.
Fett. Yeah, he's in 3 episodes of Boba Fett, 2 of which Boba Fett's not in. So, and there's only like 8 episodes of Boba Fett. So that one is fair. But no, Ahsoka, he's not in at all.
No, and he won't. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. First,
Well, they're
Tales
supposed
of
to be doing that movie, but
yeah, it's supposed to be 2026 when we get it, supposedly.
yeah, that's last time.
Yeah, at the moment, that's what it's at, but we'll see if it comes to fruition or what the hell. They don't like to make movies. They just like to say they're going to make Star Wars projects and then not do them. So, we'll see. Still waiting on that Rogue One movie, guys. Still waiting. I know.
They're supposed to do another Rogue One?
Yeah, they had a whole script. They had Patty Jenkins attached to it, and it just never happened.
It's a Rogue Squadron movie.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Rogue Squadron. I said it wrong.
Oh, yes, I knew Rogue Squadron. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron.
No,
Yeah,
That got canceled after. That got canceled not
just before
necessarily
they started
because of
filming.
yeah, not necessarily because Wonder Woman 84 was such utter dog shit.
I really think that played a part in it.
I do too. God, that movie was bad.
Yes,
Holy shit, that was bad.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, to be fair, a lot of Star Wars stuff is like that, especially because they worry. And Star Wars fans are like the most flip-floppity fucking people of all time, including, myself. But then again, my excuse is I was a child. I mean, it's the way how it is. Everyone talks about how they want more open world games. They make them, and people complain about it. What was the one that came out recently? The Star Wars game?
Outcast. Not Outcast.
No, not Outcast.
Outlaws.
What is it? Outlaws.
Yeah.
There you go.
Outlaws. And they as soon as they announced the main character was a woman, everyone said they fucking hated it, and that game's I haven't heard a single good review from that game.
Oh, I've only heard good reviews from that game.
Huh.
Yeah, this is the reviewer I watched.
The mainstream games media love that
really
game.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, people do like it. When it first came out, it had a bunch of bugs because it's a Ubisoft open world game. I mean, it's just, but they fixed it all pretty quickly. Like, it's just, I mean, 2024, has really showed that this country does not like women very much as a whole. So that, in my opinion, played a part in certain things not working out, such as Acloyte and hatred for stupid shit. And
yeah, it's a 75 on Metacritic, which is good. It's a 5.3 user review on Metacritic, which is, what happens when
it's just stupidity.
The worst part of the internet gets a hold of things. So
that David Cage Star Wars game is probably never coming out, or it's going to be
that's not.
It hasn't been canceled yet.
Oh, that one that you showed me last time, yeah.
But
It looks so interesting.
It does. I was watching a video, I think from IGN, that talked about all the Star Wars stuff coming in 2025, and there's no new games that we know of. There's no live action shows that we know of. There's no movies we know of. The only animated thing we know is Visions Volume 3 is coming out, and a bunch of books and comic books. That's it.
Maybe that means they're taking the time to work on some stuff, so it'll be better than some of the other stuff they've released.
I'm hoping so, or they're waiting for 4 years to pass before they release a movie with Rey as the main character.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. So
I hope they do release that.
I do too. I like Daisy Ridley a lot. I want more of that character too, and the actress. So I want to see where Star Wars goes past that. But like one thing that talk about the subject that we're here for, like Tales of the Jedi helped retcon in a small way to make the prequels better. Like that's what Clone Wars has done, and I feel like they are doing that also with the sequel trilogy. They're doing more stuff that helps retcon and make more sense.
Yeah, that's what a lot of Star Wars non-movie media is trying to retroactively make the prequels not awful.
I mean, they've succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, no. I would argue they succeeded in what they're trying to do, but you can't. That doesn't change the movies.
No, movies are still bad.
The movies still suck, but they can go back and go like, but what if this was actually happening? And like, well, yeah, no, that would have been good. Yes.
Like, why wasn't this in the movie?
Clone Wars is, yeah.
No, Clone Wars makes the whole Anakin change make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, thanks to Tales of the Jedi, Dooku thing makes more sense.
Yeah, his turn does make more sense with this.
Though I feel like that was in the comics also, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that doesn't... Is that stuff canon now?
I don't know, yeah.
No, there is some prequel stuff that is still canon because it was released later, but I don't know which ones are.
It's only the really late stuff that was done, though.
Yeah, but I don't know if they've done a lot of prequel stuff, because the Marvel books, they went really... There's a whole series that takes place between episode 4 and 5, and then 5 and 6, which is all canon, to show like what adventures and what they were dealing with after he blew up the Death Star. Like, those are really good.
Where's the stuff about Dooku being one of the princes in his planet?
That's from the comics, I think.
That's from the comics. I'm thinking some of that might be canon, because I think that's even referred to in something.
It is in Bad Batch. It's referred to when they go to one of the planets, and someone makes a comment about how Dooku...
That's right.
Dooku, took over his own planet first, and there is stuff that mentions it throughout the canon, what is canon now. But
Seems like they're trying to accept more of the canon, just without locking it down too hard, so they can keep changing it.
I think they're locking a lot of stuff down too. Like, because there's always a lot of stuff that's in between. They're continuing to create stuff in between episode 3 and episode 4 and then even a lot of stuff between episode 6 and episode 7 too, where I think they're trying to decide on like at least a prime narrative for the most part.
Yeah, they're filling up story where you can't. We aren't going to get more stuff with Luke Skywalker or anything, because all that's going to be filled up.
I'm happy with that. We've heard his story. I want the rest of it filled in. What was going on in the rest of it?
I just want more after what the hell happened. I want my heir to the Empire, which I don't know if I'll ever get. They might get me close to it. I want Mara Jade, damn it.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever getting Mara Jane, sorry.
I don't think I am either, but I still want her.
Though I know she was a great character, but they just went completely different direction with Luke.
Yeah, no, I don't, and it's fine. So, first episode of the Tales of Jedi show came out originally in 2022. It was 6-episode series. It's an anthology show where 3 episodes are about Ahsoka, 3 episodes are about Dooku, and they kind of... You get 1 episode of Ahsoka, then you get 3 episodes of Dooku, then you get the last bit of Ahsoka that kind of wraps up to...
Right. 2 more of Ahsoka, yeah.
Yeah. To Rebels, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Which I will say, I'm glad they're short, because I was very confused by that at first. I'm like, why is it Ahsoka? And then all of a sudden, Dooku.
No, it's fair.
Once they got past the Dooku, it made a lot of sense after.
And I have to say, like, if I just saw the first episode of this show, I would be like, oh, this is for little babies. I don't want to watch this. To be totally honest. That wasn't even a good Ahsoka episode was, it was just, I was like, okay, so her mom's going to take her into the jungle, and they're going to go hunting, and then her mom's going to get injured, and she's going to use the Force and be safe, and then everyone's going to know that she has the Force. Cool. And then that's what happened.
Not far off, but yes.
Yeah.
Well, other than she completely controlled an animal as a baby, like when she has no control over the Force.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's cartoon shit.
There's got to be some kind of record for like, oh yeah, we just decided it's an ongoing rule that saber-toothed tiger is just like kidnapping babies.
I mean, he was going to eat the baby, so he brought it back to its nest. So like, that's fair enough. But yeah, no, it's a little odd. Like, why don't you just eat it right there?
I just don't get how, like, that's such a hard power for other Jedi in every other media I've seen to develop, and she does it as a baby.
Mm.
But yeah, we got to make Ahsoka cool. Remember, everyone hated her when the Clone Wars movie came out. Everyone hated Ahsoka for like ever.
I don't know why they did, because I liked Ahsoka right from the start. She's had a spot.
I mean, she's fine. I didn't like hate her, but she's in Clone Wars. She, at least at first, she's very much just I'm an annoying, angsty, rebellious teen. I play by my own rules. She's such a like stock cardboard character at first in Clone Wars, and then she gets better as the show goes on. But as the show got better, because
it's a stock cardboard character, because honestly, that is young teenagers at that point in their lives.
Yeah, the first couple of seasons of Clone Wars feel like they're made for little children, and then as the show goes on, it gets more mature and better. I think, and I think her character
that's true.
Improves with it.
No, it's a very fair statement. And I didn't like this first episode where it shows her as a baby. Like, to me, it was a little odd. Like, I remember being like, really knows I want this. And even I watched the show now 4 times.
Yeah.
Before this episode. Like, I watched it back in 2022. Watched it again randomly at some point when I was in the Star Wars mood, and I watched it twice for this recording. I just don't.
It's about an hour and a half, but not bad.
I just don't care for this first episode.
No, I don't either. Like,
No.
we started watching. I was like, oh, what is Mike making me watch? What is this shit?
That is a fair statement.
Is it bad I had the opposite reaction? All I could think of is, man, sometimes I wish I had a baby. I'm hitting 30, and it's like, oh man, it's a same situation where I tell my husband that too. I'm like, I wish we had a baby at one point. And he's like, you really want a baby? And then I go to TikTok and I see the videos of like, oh look at this cute baby, and it just destroys its diaper. It's like, oh yeah, that's also why I don't want a baby. Besides the economy,
you don't want a baby. I mean, there are wonderful things about being a parent, but nah, I mean, I'll stick with the fur babies and the rest of my life. I have a son, and he's 17, but I'll stick with the fur babies from now on. It's too much. Way more than you want to deal. I mean, it's interesting, like, to get backstory to her, to kind of see, like, where it goes. I could have done without it.
Yeah.
It's definitely the weakest episode.
And you could cut it out and it wouldn't make any difference because we assume she was picked as a child just like every Jedi is.
Yeah, we don't need that. Like, we don't need an episode of. I mean, I think part of the whole point of the episode is to show her race, because we don't see a lot of her race throughout the series. I mean, they're a little bit in Clone Wars. I think like 1 episode, maybe.
Yeah,
but they're
not. I mean,
there used to be more.
It's just a very, like I said, it's just a very predictable, like, cookie cutter episode. It's like, oh, this is the episode of the show where we have her be a magic baby. Like, that's just like, you expect to see that in like a little kid show, like I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't know why they just didn't go for the option, which probably would have been like the only time they would have interacted. And it would have made sense this way. They should have just had it to where it was like Qui-Gon Jinn and like Dooku showing up to her village and like finding her as a kid or something.
Yeah,
and just having it be an origin, because the baby thing makes it really weird, because it's like, oh yeah, magic baby who is even stronger than most Jedi that we know.
But Qui-Gon Jinn couldn't pick her up. He's busy being dead.
You get what I mean, though. Like,
yes, I do.
When he died, she would have been like 5, and that would have been a perfect time to pick her up. They could have made it to where,
only 5,
and it would have made sense, because that way it's like, oh, that's why the story's about Ahsoka and Dooku, because they met like once. And that I said Qui-Gon, I meant Dooku. They should have had Dooku finding her as like a kid and being like, oh, what's recruiting babies or recruiting kids or whatever, and just had him only meet that one time, but just have that's why there's the stories about both of them, because they both had a meeting point in one episode, and then these are 2 different adventures after that.
All right,
I'm a little stoned.
Oh, you're fine.
No, I think you summed it up perfectly. Yeah,
I mean, it would make more sense.
I get that.
Yeah. Everybody's connected anyway, so not that that strange.
Qui-Gon died when she was 4, so
okay, so it's possible then.
So it's possible, yeah.
I was thinking he was already dead by then, but no, that makes more sense.
He dies in 32 BBY, and she's born in 36 BBY, according to Wikipedia.
Yeah, because Anakin and her aren't really a big age difference.
Yeah, it feels like it, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's almost really dumb for Anakin to have been like her master in Clone Wars.
Well, I don't know if it was more. The Jedi Council is stupid.
He's only 5 years older than her. Yeah, so I'm sorry.
Obi-Wan almost did it pulling a joke on Anakin.
Yeah, I don't have like a lot of like nostalgia for Clone Wars. I've watched it, but it's not like something I'm like super like nostalgic or whatever about. And I don't know, that my least favorite thing about Clone Wars is Anakin, but especially Anakin and her. I don't find that super compelling, because he just like, it's like, all right, so we just saw him in a movie being a whiny little annoying shit who no one would ever show any kind of respect to. Like, there's no reason anyone ever would be the least bit respectful to that character. And then minutes after that movie, he's got an apprentice. And he's like calling her Snips. He's like, come on, Snips. I'm going to impart some wisdom. And then he's just imparting wisdom, just handing down wisdom left and right. I'm like, you're not wise, though. Like, we just saw you. We just saw you.
So if he says
the woman and the children.
He's imparting wisdom he doesn't have.
Yeah, but it's I don't think I think that's meaning that we're putting onto it. I don't think the cartoon gives it that meaning. I think the cartoon likes to pretend that his character didn't exist in Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones.
Yes, I agree with you on that one 100%.
So
Yeah.
one I will actually talk about that, which if I goes even further about the wisdom thing stuff. I have a weird theory about that as well. Several theories about that, but we'll get into that because we actually talked about it in the first part. But I wonder because since you mentioned that, what is it, Ahsoka and Anakin are like 5 years apart, or 4 or 5 years apart, and so are Qui-Gon and Anakin. I wonder if they plan that so it's more of a sibling attachment as opposed to like a parental attachment. Because I feel like having a parental attachment would be worse between Jedi because then you end up caring too much about your Padawan.
That could be fair. I mean, they do care about their Padawans even long after their Padawan leaves them. Like, that's been proven at this point.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's 16 years older than Anakin.
Too strong.
Obi-Wan's what?
16 years older than Anakin.
I thought he was 6 years older than Anakin. I was like, okay.
16, yeah.
Okay.
No,
Obi-Wan is?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I did not realize there was that big a difference there.
Yeah, maybe not in the actors, but and then Qui-Gon's 23 years older than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, it doesn't always show well because I guess we're looking at the actors when you're watching it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Ahsoka is an animated character for the until recently, but so
yeah, but I still imagine even with the animated Obi-Wan and Anakin, you sort of imagine them as if they were
right.
No, you
still picture Hayden Christensen and
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor, thank you. I was blanking on
the name for a second.
They've really got to round out all those character stories because we only have them around until they look so old. Can't have a 40-year-old Hayden Christensen still playing a fucking 20-year-old fucking Anakin Skywalker.
They'll try. It does not look good. It does not.
Well, they're going to do like they did with Luke, where you just impose the face over some other young guy playing the character.
I think that's what they did.
Just hire a new actor. Like, I get it, but just hire a new actor. It's fine.
If you hire a new actor, though, you're going to get more ticked off people just because that's not my Anakin.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Did you see the Obi-Wan series?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Is it that he's in, or is it the Ahsoka? Is Ahsoka that he's in?
Lightsaber battle with Obi-Wan when they were training, and that's what they had other actors there with their faces imposed.
Yeah,
that's the one that's awful.
Yeah,
I think that's what they did because it couldn't have been actually them. Like it didn't look like actually them.
Yeah, no, I watched the thing. That is exactly what it was.
Yeah, and then the second episode is when the show gets good, and it's called.
I like this one.
Has to do with Dooku. This is the first time you see Dooku. This is younger Dooku when Qui-Gon Jinn is his Padawan long before he turns to the dark side. And this kind of helps shows like why he turned. Like a little, like you can already see it's there based on some of his actions, but like it all makes sense.
And showed the corruption of the Republic.
Yeah,
excellently.
I mean, you have the senator who lives in the capital with his son, and the capital's fine, but the rest of the planet is just fucked. And they even say like, well, it's because of his policy. And it made me think of real life things, which probably not. It's a metaphor for 100%, like what we deal with in our own world, where we have politicians that don't care about a lot of their people.
So one thing I wonder, and I think it's funny because we watched Acloyte before this, and I wonder where Acloyte was going to explain why people think that the Jedi work for the Senate, and we're going to that whole thing where it would explain why everyone thinks that, because you hear a lot in this, you do hear a lot in the original series, and they tend to talk about it more, where everyone's always like, oh yeah, the Jedi only work for the Senate, they're basically just rich people cops, even though they're not really. They try not to be, at least for the most part. They're really just been bumbling it on themselves, but I wonder if Acolyte would have went into that because like that season ends with them being like, oh yeah, the Senate needs to have a tighter leash from the Jedi because they're kind of doing whatever they want.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things of that they serve the Republic, right? They serve the people of the Republic, but the Republic is supposed to be guided by the Senate. The Senate's supposed to be in charge. But then if you've got this like powerful agency that goes around keeping the peace, but isn't beholden to the government that is supposed to be running things, like that would be not. Like that would be crazy. Like if we had if the FBI didn't answer to the government at all, it was just like its own entity that did its own thing based on its own personal judgment. That would be like
that. It's something that works well in theory if you actually live up to your principles, especially like principles under the Jedi. If you lived up to those principles, it works great. The problem is that you're still humans, whatever alien you are, you still are flawed, and you're never going to live up to that. So
even if you
need something to oversee you.
Not everybody necessarily agrees with your moral philosophy. but they voted for the senators who are in charge of the government. So it's like in a democracy, you can't have the Jedi as an independent group. They have to be beholden to the Senate, or else it's not a democracy.
Well, I get the idea, and maybe this is just in my mind, they've been serving the Republic for a long time, but at one time they must have been separate, and they just beheld peace everywhere, right?
And Acloyte kind of shows that, where they're not officially working for the Senate. They just kind of
they're still separate there,
yeah.
And the Senate doesn't like it.
The thing is I think that they're separate. I don't think they're in Acloyte. I don't think that they're separate from the government. It's that the Senate just doesn't have oversight over them in a similar way that, like, in our government, right? Like the CIA works for the president and does things for the president, and then the Senate will call them in and question them about it and stuff. But the Senate doesn't give them orders, And I think that's kind of what's going on in Acloyte, is you have the Jedi, but who do they work for? They work for no one. They work for themselves, which is kind of a crazy thing to have, Yeah,
I think that's fair enough. Fair way to put it. I just really appreciate how much this episode, shows Dooku even choking a guy. Like, it's all there. Like, he uses the Force choke, and
he was right on that edge.
Yeah, like, he was already there, and he was already angry with these people, and he's angry with the government, and it makes Dooku's character better, and it makes me wish we could have had even just a little bit of this somehow in the movie.
Yeah, something to show him not just as a mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, when Dooku shows up and Attack of the Clones, like, okay, who's this guy? Like, Darth Maul at least looked cool. I mean, yes, he had no lines, but he looked cool and he sold toys. I highly doubt there were a lot of people going out and buying Count Dooku toys after seeing
I don't know. I mean, it's
besides the Star Wars nuts.
It's Dracula,
He was always one of my favorite Sith, and I've literally wanted to make his lightsaber for years.
I'm trying to think if had Lord of the Rings come out yet? I guess it hadn't.
Lord of the Rings was first.
It's 2003. I know Lord of the Rings is 2002. Lord of the Rings is 2002. So yeah,
he was well known for that. For me, it was the man with golden gun. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's just something about, like, Vader and then Darth Maul. They have a certain look to them, and Dooku doesn't have that look. But I would have appreciated something more, like this show adds in that little bit of stuff that we're missing by showing you that he hated them already. Like, he had issues with the Senate and issues with.
Lord of the Rings is 2001, episode 2, 2002.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Yeah,
he would have been well known at that point in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I just like, too, how it showed the senator, like, for them to be that corrupt, it's not that far a jump for them to become the Empire then. It shows there's lots of people like the Empire already there.
I thought that was cool. And it was cool to see Qui-Gon Jinn, too, and how, he has his green lightsaber, and it made me happy.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as he, like, whipped out his lightsaber, I'm like, I'm going to guarantee he's going to be like, all right, we had enough for a day. Come on, Qui-Gon, let's go home. And as soon as he said it, I was like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah. As soon as they showed, I was like, I heard his voice. I was like, oh, that's somebody doing a Christopher Lee impression. So, like, that's going to be, and it's got to be Qui-Gon, because we know Qui-Gon was his apprentice.
I really like that. I thought that was a good.
Yeah.
It was good to have it there.
Yeah, because it's been talked about but never shown before, was it? I don't think.
No, it was talked about.
We've never seen them together other than when he has him, like, in that, like, thing, that, like, little, like, energy prison thing on Geonosis. It's the only time we've ever seen them together. And then when they fight, obviously. Oh, no. That's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, no, Obi-Wan.
We never saw Qui-Gon together. Qui-Gon was dead.
Yeah.
Before that happened. So we never got a chance to see him. So, I mean, it's just nice. It's just a nice little episode to kind of show the corruption. And then the next episode goes even more into that corruption.
The next one's Windu, right?
Yes, that's the one where Windu, they're sent off to... Essentially, all they're supposed to do is go and collect a body from a Jedi that died, where Dooku's like, hey, we should investigate, and, like, how did this... how was this Jedi just killed like this? And Mason's like, don't worry about it, bro. That's not our job. We don't care. We're just here to pick up a body, man. Like, I just want to get paid. Like, that's how it feels. Like, it's like, not my business.
I think it's shown Windu was trying to be like, well, yeah, we can't get too involved in local politics. Like, we got to stay to this. Like, we got to keep our distance.
I think it's also more Windu knew that he was going to be offered a job. I still believe that, because the Jedi that was killed that they're going to go pick up the body also sat on the console. And, well, she's dead, so she ain't sitting on the console anymore, so somebody has to.
I I also think it's funny because they kind of mentioned in the beginning where Dooku says something along the lines of he's like, you really do just kind of follow the rules and what everyone says, right? And he's like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? That's what everyone else does. And I think it kind of goes into the whole thing of him being like, well, of course you can't be a Jedi Knight, Anakin. You kind of fucking suck. So I'm still refusing to make you a Jedi Knight. And it's like, oh, he's always been like this. Okay.
Well, they make him a Jedi Knight. They don't make him a Jedi Master.
Right, Master, right.
But no, Mace, like, the stuff with Windu, I think is cool because he's a character that we never really get a lot. We just get the movies, and I don't think there's even a lot of, like, side content about Mace Windu. Like, I'm still waiting for him to show up in some kind of form somewhere in the canon.
He was in the original Clone Wars, the old one.
And he's in the new Clone Wars show a whole bunch, but I'm waiting for more of him. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't shown up in something after he gets thrown off Coruscant.
Oh, you think he survived that?
Oh, I'm 100% think he survived. They just haven't done it yet. Either because they think it's too stupid, which hasn't happened before, or they're saving it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where they killed him in such a way that they can bring him back if they decide they want him later. That's what I think.
I've been waiting to see if Samuel L. Jackson would actually come back for it.
Oh, I think he'd come back for it. He doesn't seem like he has like super high standards of what he shows up in.
As long as you pay him, he'll show up.
You got to pay him.
Well, he did only agree to do this if he could have a different colored lightsaber. He was picky on Star Wars for some reason.
I think it was just one of those things where he signed the contract and said, "Hey, can I get a purple lightsaber, guys?" Like, you haven't done that yet.
That's what he says. He says that in interviews, he said that he just he was like, "Hey, can I make it purple?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure."
I swore I heard an old interview where he's like, "Yeah, I told George I wasn't going to do this unless I could have something special with my lightsaber."
Yeah, maybe.
He might have, but
he might have said that.
At that point, I mean, they're like, we want you anyway, so we don't care. Like, whatever.
I also think it's like, I don't know. I think that he kind of says things.
Yeah.
All actors say things. I mean, there's a whole thing that happened recently or years ago where they said Ryan Reynolds and Wesley Snipes said they ain't fucking like each other, and then the Deadpool movie came out, and they're like, "What? No, we've always been friends. What?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So even though there's actual footage of Wesley Snipes calling like Ryan Reynolds like a bunch of calling him like an asshole and shit. So
yeah, but Ryan Reynolds helped write that check that he got for Wolverine and Deadpool. So it really makes you turn the other way.
He's got to pay those taxes.
Oh yeah. They don't forget that.
He doesn't want to go back to prison.
You can get away with a lot of things in this country. Not paying your taxes is not one of them.
He actually went to prison for that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing they don't fuck around with in this country. Pay your damn taxes.
It's also technically why we didn't get Blade 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because he was in prison?
Yeah.
I mean, if they would continue down the road they were going, I don't think we need a Blade 4. I do like Blade Trinity, but still, it was time to wrap that up.
Oh god, I hate Blade Trinity. That movie's so bad.
It is, but I like it.
It's the only Blade movie I really like.
It's a bad movie, though, but definitely. Also,
it might be a bad movie. I like bad movies. So.
I do, too, sometimes. It's just a good episode to kind of see it. You see another corrupt senator. Dooku is faced again with this, and I just think there's some really good stuff in here. Yeah,
they do a good job of just kind of showing it build up and build up and build up with Dooku. Whereas, like, you could see him, he's not he might, I think they show him as, like, a person who actually has, like, good motivations at first.
Yeah, he meant to do right. He meant to try and do what was right for everybody, and just ends up going down a path where you can't turn back.
Right.
No, he makes his choices. Like, I mean, you see a lot of it in the next episode. Anything else you guys want to say about this episode with the Mace Windu stuff? The next episode is the one that really, like, solidifies everything with Dooku, and I think this is probably my favorite episode in the entire thing.
This is the first time we've had Yaddle speak.
Yep. So I love that they added Yaddle back in here.
Yeah. I love how they finally make sense of why Yaddle is in Phantom Menace, but not in any other movie.
Yep.
I was gonna ask about that because I had some weird lore questions. I was like, doesn't Yaddle die later on in the series and something else? So was it retcon to where she dies here? So I guess you guys answered my question for that then. So
no, she was never mentioned ever again. I don't think anywhere. I think she just disappeared.
She was in like one of the novels, I think, back in the day.
It's no longer canon.
But it's definitely not canon anymore. What she was mentioned in, and that's it. Like, she's barely ever been talked about, and I really liked her character here.
I'm so upset. Right before we started recording this, my husband started making baking brownies. I think they're like done. I can fucking smell them coming up to my room.
Go get a brownie.
Get a brownie. It's fine. We'll wait.
I don't even know if they're done yet, so it's whatever.
And just walk down there and be like, "You got food for me?" If that works. Are they special brownies though? That should be the real question in your house.
No, my husband doesn't partake in the devil's lettuce.
But also this episode starts off with you seeing Count Dooku go in and delete the planet of Kamino. Yeah. Like, I love that they put that in there.
Yeah, the planet that it didn't exist, because if it existed, it'd be here. But any Jedi can go and just go delete.
Yeah, they had that dumb dogmatic librarian.
Yeah.
Who's
she
making fun of Obi-Wan for thinking he saw a Sith.
Make that comment in here.
His imagination, get away of him. And then next scene, Obi-Wan's there at Obi-Wan's funeral.
Qui-Gon's funeral. Yeah, I like that. I like how she's like, oh, it can't be real. And also, why is it so easy for him just to log in? I mean, yes, he logs into different Jedi, but he just deletes it and there's no evidence of it. Like, they don't figure out who deleted it.
He's high ranking enough.
Oh, yeah. It's a really cute moment though, too. And then when you have Qui-Gon's funeral, when you have that and then Yaddle, because you have two scenes with Yaddle. You have the one with Yaddle where she makes a comment to him. I think she talks to him, and then or maybe she talks to him, and then after when at the funeral, because I like how he's standing at the tree. No, he doesn't go to the funeral. He's standing at the tree, and he's like, Qui-Gon really liked this tree. He grew up in this planet.
Trying to convince him to go to the funeral at first.
Yeah, because she doesn't understand, but she senses that something's wrong.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. I like that touch that she's like, there's something wrong here.
And I like, even though he went and did that, as you see later in the episode, he wasn't fully committed to, he's doing what he thought he had to, but he wasn't committed to the dark side. He wasn't actually trying to do something evil. He still just thought he was trying to do what was best for everybody, because he didn't want to hurt anybody at that point.
No, he hadn't fully
that Qui-Gon got killed.
Yeah, he hadn't fully accepted the dark side. He went to Sidious to complain to him about how he went too far.
Yep.
And like how Sidious makes a comment, he's like, Qui-Gon would have been a great ally for you. Again, the way that Palpatine is and the way the Sith are in general, that's what they do. Like, you can't have somebody under you like that, or, let them have that kind of power. You have to take complete control.
Exactly.
So.
But Dooku, and this is where I guess he felt he had gone so far, he couldn't turn around. He had to keep going, and he ended up embracing the dark side by it.
He sure did. And I mean, he has to kill Yaddle because Yaddle sneaks in the room because she's listening to him, and he has no choice, really, but to kill her.
And it's so dumb of Yaddle. She could have just, left and gone and gotten help, but she's like, no, I'll handle this by myself. I'm going to walk in and tell them that I know.
I think she really had the impression that she could turn him back, that she didn't need to talk to anybody else, and then the two of them could do whatever Sidious. They could bring him in. It showed an arrogance that always seems to pop up with the Jedi Masters.
Yes, that's a good point.
I was kind of hoping we'd see his lightsaber turn right at the end, but we didn't get that at the end.
I was expecting it, but then I thought about it. I think the first time they showed that was, that one was just Acloyte, which was too bad. They had a golden opportunity to show it here in the cartoon, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they, when you do that, but I do like how that's what makes him then, pretty much indebted to Palpatine, because he murdered a Jedi right there. And I do like where she makes the comment. She's like, you are right, Dooku. I mean, the Senate does control the council, and we are, I backed out. I stepped away. But you guys are also right. She really should have been like, oh, I better leave now. But I guess maybe the idea that I have no proof of it, and she really did think Dooku would side with her.
Yeah. And I also want to point out that is Ian McDermott playing the Emperor, doing the voice of the Emperor, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Who was doing Dooku?
Need to work. Oh, what were you going to say, Jody?
Who was doing Dooku's voice?
I don't know.
Because it wasn't Christopher Lee was gone by then, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, Christopher Lee died 10 years ago, I thought.
20 years ago.
I thought so too. That's why I'm.
Who was Count Dooku? Corey Burton.
Oh, okay.
Who I think is his voice in Rebel. I mean in
Clone Wars. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. No? He's Cad Bane.
Yeah, he did the voice of Cad Bane.
No, but he's not. I don't think he did Dooku.
Oh.
I'm trying to see who. I don't know. Because Dooku is in Clone Wars, right?
He is, quite a bit.
I'll say, he did Dooku in the Lego Star Wars games. No, he did him in Clone Wars. Never mind, I was wrong.
Okay, they got the same actor.
It sounded the same as him. That's why I was wondering if it was him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did
a good job though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah, and he's doing a Christopher Lee impression,
and that's fine. I mean, that's a character.
If I ever get to see him at a convention, I want to like ask him to talk about what it sounds like when you stab a Nazi in the back. Y'all are aware of that?
Oh yeah,
Christopher Lee.
Well,
where he was on the set of Lord of the Rings, and he was where he's being stabbed by Wormtongue, and Peter Jackson was telling him like, "Oh no, make it sound like this," and he's like, "Excuse me, I think I know what it sounds like when a man is stabbed in the back."
Christopher Jackson, or not Christopher. I don't know why.
Peter Jackson.
Yeah, he basically told him to do a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm not doing that. That's not real."
He's like, "Trust me, I know what it sounds like," because he has killed many Nazis.
Fought in World War II.
An undisclosed number of Nazis with a knife because he's awesome.
Can you imagine how that must be to be in war and kill someone with a knife? Like but you're in war.
And then become an actor.
Yeah, become a damn good actor too at that. So, but yeah, it's just so cool to see how Dooku becomes Dooku, and I think this episode helped make this. I really enjoyed this episode also.
I definitely think this is the best one of both Jedi and Empire. Honestly, I just loved this episode.
I think it's the best of Jedi for sure. I really enjoyed Empire a lot, though. I think I enjoyed Empire more than Jedi, but yes, it was really good. Agreed.
Then we get back to Ahsoka. This episode, I don't care for as much.
I hated it.
Okay,
I didn't hate it,
but it's like
it
stupid.
was such a. It reminded me of so many episodes of Clone Wars that I would like want to fast forward through. Honestly,
I love this episode.
I did too. I love the ending of this episode in particular.
The ending is good. That it connects.
Ending's good. Agreed.
That it connects everything like to it. Because the whole idea is that it shows her doing the training class, like when the Clone Wars had just started, or some point during the Clone Wars. You can kind of tell what year it is based on Anakin's hair. Is one of the you honestly can, because if you look at because Clone Wars happens for 3 years. I watched a 7-hour documentary, so I can tell you this now. Very good, actually. And if you look at the way it goes, his hair grows out as the years progress. You go from the short hair in Attack of the Clones to the long hair in Revenge of the Sith, because apparently there were no barbers in space. So, you can kind of just see, how he's changing, and that's how you can kind of pinpoint where this is in the timeline. I don't know exactly, but I think it's earlier Clone Wars at first, and then it shows, the whole idea of what they've been doing is because he wants to keep her safe. He gets mad at the test because he's an asshole, that he has her... He takes her to an undisclosed location, like a warehouse, and he has the clone shoot her for her to practice and learn to anticipate who's going to shoot her. Yeah. I mean, on one aspect, it's like, okay, he's trying to save her life. For the other part, it's like, maybe they could use a paintball gun or something.
It was a bit extreme, but
it is extreme.
That's Anakin in Clone Wars, especially. I liked it because it did show why can Ahsoka survive when all these other Jedi can't? Because they just got too used to just dealing with things that they didn't have to anticipate, and then they couldn't react to the drones. The ones who did react well are ones like Yoda and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, who did have to do more than just fight droids for the last 3 years.
There's a really cool TikTok, which I always wonder where it was from, but it basically it's supposed to be a reference. This whole episode's apparently a bunch of references, obviously by the ending, but the whole fight that she does while she's fighting the clones is scene for scene whenever, I guess it's during one of the Clone War episodes where Order 66 happens and she escapes. It's it's scene for scene when she does that, apparently.
It is, yeah. And a lot of that ending part is what she goes through, where Rex takes her into that room and then Jesse's like, oh, we got her. All that is exactly from the show.
That's very cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, the animation's a little bit different because this animation is better than what you had in the original show. But yeah, it's the same. But
it was the same scene, just shot.
Yeah.
That is something we haven't mentioned, by the way, is the art style for this.
That's true. It's unique.
Well, it's the same art style that they've been using with Bad Batch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be halfway between Clone Wars and that because it's a little older, but it is the same style.
It's a little bit more detailed.
Yeah, it's more detailed, but it is also it makes me think of I've said it before on some of our Bad Batch episodes. It makes me think of the Star Wars Play School toys. It has kind of a similar feel to that to me.
Okay.
I look them up again.
It's supposed to be a 3D version of the Genndy Tartakovsky art style from the original cartoon Clone Wars. I've always loved it though. I'm so glad they decided to stick it out with this art style, and I love seeing it improve over the years from like when I watched the Clone Wars movie with y'all, that's like the first time that they ever used it, and it looked so bad and so robotic.
It did. That was bad. The animation was bad in that.
Yes, that is where it first showed up. You're right.
Yeah, but in this, it's gorgeous. I'm so glad they stuck with it and have made improvements over the years instead of going with something else. And I hope they continue to use it because all this like background stuff that they've been doing with it, it's just been, from what I've heard and what I've seen, it's just all been fantastic.
You know what? I can see what you're saying now. I always have trouble with his name, Gorgoski, with those Clone Wars because they were so stylized. It's a very similar style, even though this is 3D and his wasn't.
Yeah,
now, his is really special. It just.
It like thick lines basically, and like kind of like just certain shapes and stuff like that. It's a hard way to describe it, but it almost feels like a comic book.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Whereas the Clone Wars show had a little more almost 3D animation to it. I think it was the same style meant to be, but it just wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
20 years before. I don't know. This episode's the only one that feels like filler. In my opinion, like it's just, I don't know, something about this episode that I just didn't really care for.
Yeah, I think it was only, in my opinion, it was just to show how did she become so good? Because yes, in the Clone Wars we saw her get better, but like there was just this like leap where all of a sudden she can keep up with Anakin, whereas before she couldn't really. And I'm wondering if this is like a filler. Here's where that came from.
Probably, and like this is also happening over the course of like it shows you her doing it that first time, and it shows you doing it shows her doing it later on, like a later point in the war. You can tell because Anakin's hair is longer. So like,
and also, isn't that one point she's now on a ship with other clones when she's doing it?
Yes, there's two different times. There's one where he said, "Hey, you made it for 6 minutes, or you made it for like an hour," whatever he says that time. He says something, and that is on a ship, and that's also later in the war. And then there's the comment he makes where it was like, "I hope all that training paid off." When they're at the very end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I watched way too much Star Wars.
So does, I mean, I wish I could. So is Rex, I know I've seen some stuff from Clone Wars. Doesn't it like 1% of like the clones don't get affected by like Order 66 for some weird reason?
Okay, you open a can of worms. The reason why Rex is okay is because Ahsoka strapped him down to a bed and took it out of his head. That's why he's okay. He was trying to kill her shortly before that scene. You just didn't see it in this show.
Yeah. She actually like did surgery on him to remove the chip.
Yeah, the only clones that weren't affected by it were the Bad Batch because they were altered. Every other clone besides, I think it's Fives, had it taken out. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, Fives. I think it was Fives because he was injured and it got taken out.
He takes it on himself, I think.
Yeah, but didn't he get injured before that? Like earlier in that episode? That was in Clone Wars too.
No, his friend, someone else he's with, it happens to. He witnesses it.
That's what it was.
And they bring
somebody else had it actually activate early or something.
Yes, and they were going to have him killed because he figured out something was wrong. And then, if I remember correctly, he does die anyway. But yes.
Yeah, you're right. That's late Clone Wars stuff.
Yes, that's all like season 4. Oh, God, the Clone Wars go seven seasons, I think.
It was 7 seasons in total. I think that was season 6, wasn't it?
Or is Clone Wars only 6 seasons? I don't remember.
It's 7 or 8.
It's 7 seasons. Okay, the 7th season with the Disney Plus one. 6 was the Netflix one, which is like the Lost Chapters, is what it was called back when it came out. So 5, it's season 5.
So that would have been 5 then, yeah. It was before Lost Chapters.
Yes. I have watched all of Clone Wars twice. I watched a 7-hour documentary about it. I watched a 4-hour documentary about it recently. Yeah. I've been in a Star Wars mood, guys, like huge. It's starting to taper off, whatever word I want to use there. Taper off, but I'm still in it, but I'm getting a little bit less into it. So, all right, and that brings us to the last episode of Tales of Jedi. This one I do like too. I think this is a good one also.
Oh, this was a very good one.
Oh, this one, yeah, this was good.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
So I have a weird question. Are we supposed to imply that Ahsoka's on the farm that Dooku saves in his first episode?
I don't think so.
Well, because the little robot that's pushing the hay barrel around, its like leg is fucked up like Dooku sees in his episode. That's why I'm like, is that supposed to be a connection?
That's very possible.
Maybe that's what connects the whole Dooku story to the Ahsoka story, because that's not really connected otherwise.
I mean, I just took it as it was just there, but I mean, that's fair. I mean, it could be what they were going for. I mean, they never say the planet.
Yeah, they don't say, but maybe that if that droid is the same, then I would say that's exactly what they're going for.
I could see it. I like it. I mean, this episode starts off with Padme's funeral, and then Ahsoka is there talking with Bail Organa. And I just love because she jumped, because the clone troopers are nearby, and they're like, "Hey, you can't supposed to be here." And he's talking to him the last, and he says, "If you ever need my help, just call." And they're like, they both look at her and shrug, like, "What the fuck is he saying?"
Yeah. They're not the smartest.
I really like that. I think all that is just really cool to see her, and then she flies off in a Y-wing too. I was thinking, like, didn't somebody realize, hey, why is that Y-wing flying over here? Like, this isn't covered, but I guess that wasn't the issue of the day.
Everyone was more worried about a wrinkly Nazi taking over the goddamn fucking universe. I guess
not the people that are doing the watching. The people that would have been paying attention to the people flying would have been the clone troopers. They're not concerned, but I guess it just made
their transponder off.
I guess that works, doesn't it?
Well, there you go.
Another time.
But it's a cute little scene, and then you see her, and this also helps make sense because as a guy who watched Clone Wars and then watched Rebels, and spoiler alert, she shows up in Rebels. I remember being like, "Where the fuck was she?" And this starts to explain where she, like, this kind of gives some context to what happens to her, that she had just kind of ran off to a farm. And I think that's cool.
Which, given what happens with her in the Jedi Order, it kind of makes a lot of sense, actually, that's where she would go.
Yeah, she
was sick of fighting at this point.
Well, that, and she gave up she had to give up her lightsabers when she fakes her own death.
This is where she gets back her first lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or both of them, pretty much.
Turns them, right?
Yeah. She takes, because essentially it's two sabers put together with the way those weapons are.
Yeah.
And when you see her in Rebels, she has the white sabers. Because in Rebels, in season 1, or I think it's season 1 and 2, you find out that they're working for this undercover agent named Fulcrum. Out that, like, the big reveal is that it's her, that she survived. And I like how this starts to put more context into where she was and what she was doing. And I really appreciated that. And yes,
Ahsoka's so fucking cool. Like, I know, I do love that she went from, like, because I remember back in the day, because I was a kid and everything else, back whenever Clone Wars and all that started, I very specifically remember people hating her. I love how it's gone from that to where she's, like, genuinely one of, like, the most top loved characters currently. And it's I think that's just always the coolest thing ever.
I mean, Ashley, I will brag each time I get the chance to, that I met her. Like,
you met her, right?
Yeah, I met her, I have a picture with her, and I had her sign my Ahsoka and Darth Maul Funko Pop. Now I just got to meet the voice actor for Darth Maul to get that signed.
I would have loved to have seen her as the live-action Ahsoka.
Same.
I get they wanted the star power, but I would have liked to have seen her as it.
She's short.
I would much rather have had her, honestly.
I would have too. Oh, her hair, like when I went to convention, her hair actually has the same, like, the blue-white thing of Ahsoka she has in her ponytails.
Cool. She just seems so cool, and everything I've seen her in, like, for interviews and everything about it too.
She was real friendly to all her fans that were there, and, like, just a real nice person.
Yeah.
So it was.
I think they wanted the name of Rosario Dawson, who I've never been a huge fan of anyway.
I'm sure it's shows being shows. They're like, we're not going to put all this money behind it if we don't have someone that's big enough.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I would have rather had her, but it's fine. But this episode just makes me happy because it fills in a lot of plot holes for me. You also have, like, where she's on the farm and she saves somebody, which you shouldn't be doing if you're a Jedi in this time. But I get it. Like, you care.
Couldn't leave it. And I liked when Buddy, I can't remember if he had a name or not, the fellow that turns her in, all to get a reward. And then it's like, no, you don't know who you're dealing with. The entire village down.
I don't remember if he had a name. He's just credited as Village Brother.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
All that made me think of was maybe he worked at McDonald's and he thought he didn't get a reward. That's why he turned her in. So hey.
Well, didn't he say something too? He's the one convinced them, or am I mixing this up with another episode now? He's the one convinced them to go join with the Empire.
No, he said that he was happy that the Empire took over, and they're like,
"That's what
you don't know what you're talking about." And then he trusts the Empire. Then he turns her into the Empire, and then the Sith pretty much just kills him. I mean, doesn't kill him, but attempts to kill him.
Yeah.
I was just watching this last week. I'm like, that's quite relevant there. Hey, I'm supposed to get. Yeah, sure you are. So that's what I thought of. So yeah, and then my only issue is that Sith never shows up in anything else. I mean, other than what we're about to talk about in a little bit. Like, I don't know, that Inquisitor isn't in the games or in the comics. They made him for this, and then they just get rid of him.
And he did look cool. Like, I have no idea what species he was supposed to be under that mask.
So maybe he's in other stuff. I read where the Inquisitors, like, I've seen all the Rebels. I've read the Darth Vader comic that has a lot to do with the Inquisitors and shows where a lot of them are killed But the Inquisitors have kept growing as as they keep creating more characters just because it works to have we can have villain that you can kill that has a lightsaber. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. George Lucas did not envision there being Inquisitors, but it makes the world better that there are. Allows us to do more. Sense. Yeah, it allows us to do more. Well, it allows us to have more fun. Allows us to have fun video games like Jedi Survivor and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I have no problem with
Brown.
it. I think it is, yes.
Yeah, it's Clancy Brown.
I just knows it because he does so much voice acting. It surprises me.
Yeah, he does a ton of voice acting. I didn't realize that either. I love Clancy Brown.
Oh yeah, but no, this is the only thing that Inquisitor has ever appeared in.
He's in one other thing.
Well, this and what we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah, I wonder. I hope maybe they'll put him in somewhere else. I mean, you can't kill him now, but you could still have him in some of the early stuff because it never says what year Ahsoka joins with the Rebels. Because she's involved in Rebels, but Rebels takes place 4 years or 5? No, 5 years before A New Hope, before the Battle of Yavin. And there's 4 seasons, which are 4 years, and then there's a year between. But it could be
20 years in between, right?
Yes, 20 years from when Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope.
Yeah, and there's 5 years of it as Rebels. So there's the other 15 years.
But Rebels takes place right before. It's 14 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, and then Rebels happens for I think it's 4 years. Or no, Rebels takes place 5 years over the course of before New Hope, so about a year somewhere in between. But yeah, I don't know. I'm talking.
So there's still 10 years anyway.
There's still time that they can play with. I mean, we have Jedi Fallen Order, we have other things, but there's still time. So they could eventually do something with it, because I'm assuming this is still pretty far off. But anything else you want to say about this episode? Okay. Did you guys?
I'm good.
Yeah, we'll stick with my original plan. We'll do Shelf Stacker Box just for Tales of the Jedi real quick.
All right.
And Joe, why don't you go first?
It's on the shelf. I liked it a lot. I always love seeing more Star Wars side stories and stuff like that. And this was really good. And yeah, I love whenever it adds lore and everything else to the series as well. So totally on the shelf.
Same. Jody.
I'll shelf it, but I'm going to put the first episode in the box. I have no interest in watching that, but I will watch the other 5.
And Kerry.
I would, I'd say, put it on the shelf. I don't see myself watching it again, but it's definitely good.
Put it on the shelf. Also, I've watched this now 4 or 5 times, so I'll probably watch it again at some point when I get in that mood because I just like it. So, go on the shelf.
It's a nice, easy watch too.
It is, yeah.
An hour and a half.
It's not long at all. And then we will talk about Tales of the Empire, which came out in 2024. Also, just 6 episodes, but this one is a little different because it really just focuses. Well, yeah, just like the other one, focuses on 2 characters. It just does it in different way.
But it spends the first 3 episodes on one character and then the last 3, right?
I prefer that personally.
It's less.
I think both ways works fine to me.
Yeah.
I really liked Empire a lot more than. I liked both, but I think I liked Tales of the Empire more.
I did not realize that the first one switched back and forth. So I watched the 2 of them. I watched Tales of Jedi one night and Tales of the Empire another night. Tales of Jedi, I don't know, it's just so interlinked that I didn't realize it was 2 different stories, because I guess Ahsoka and Dooku are close enough related. These 2 felt almost like 2 separate things.
It really is.
And I really liked the second half. And the first half, I was just confused because I didn't even realize in the first episode who that was. Until the very end of the episode.
She's in the 1 episode of Mandalorian, and then she's in all of Ahsoka.
Yeah, she's
this is why I gotta watch Ahsoka.
The main antagonist of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And this came out before Ahsoka came out, so it was kind of like... I think it did. No, maybe this is after. Wait, what is
this? This is after.
This came out this year.
Yeah.
Or last year.
This is after Ahsoka.
Okay, so they were kind of retcon. Yeah, you're right. Ahsoka's 2023. Never mind.
Yeah, they're just giving a lot of they're giving a lot of backstory. I liked it. Which Morgan Elsbeth, I'm a big fan of her as a character. I like the actress that plays her, which it's the same actress that plays her in the live action.
Yeah,
I like the actress.
Diana Lee Inosanto. She's Indonesian, part Indonesian, and she's a stunt woman. And then her dad was like a famous stuntman, and so I like her. I think it's cool when they find a stunt person and have them act. And so the person doing the stunts is actually because she's a martial artist, and she doesn't really get to show that off very much in Mandalorian, because even though she has a fight scene in Mandalorian, it's really terribly choreographed because Rosario Dawson can't fight, and I guess they didn't want to pay a stunt person for her. I don't know what the deal is. I complained about this when we talked about Mandalorian season 2.
God, but years ago.
Yeah. But she's actually really good, specifically fights with a staff like that. That's bow staff fighting. that she actually does in real life. That's why her character does that. And I was wondering if she did mocap for this or not. Probably not. I know that they did. Mocap. I know the last season of Clone Wars, they had a stunt woman doing mocap for Ahsoka in some of the fight scenes. And they had Ray Park did the mocap for Darth Maul.
That's cool.
Yeah, and just the last season of Clone Wars. So it's actually like real people fighting, which is why it looks so freaking good compared to the kind of cartoonish fighting in previous seasons. But I don't know if they had that in this or not. But I liked her. I was at first I was like, I didn't realize it was going to be her, and then I read the like synopsis says young Morgan Elspeth seeks revenge after losing. I was like, Morgan Elspeth from Ahsoka.
So this first episode is so fucking good though. Like, I thought this was in the Clone Wars when I was watching my documentaries. I'm like, where's that episode? Then I'm like, oh yeah, wait, it didn't come out yet.
The Empire. Really cool.
Did we know a little bit. Night Sister from anything else?
Oh yeah, the Night Sisters have been in Star Wars since the 80s.
Oh, yeah, no, but did we know Elsbeth was one? Because in Mandalorian it does not say
Ahsoka.
Okay, so in Ahsoka that is shown.
Yeah, we know
that's the whole thing.
Yeah, she was summoned by the Night Witches of a different region to bring Thrawn back. Like that's how she knew where Thrawn was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her
this is where me missing Ahsoka is why that just seemed like such a revelation to me. I'm like, she's a
she's doing magic and stuff in Ahsoka. She can summon like a green sword from the ether, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, and
she actually at first I thought they were doing an episode until they called her Elsbeth. I thought they were doing it on Marin, the one from Jedi.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's what I thought this whole thing was. And then by the end of the episode, it was very confused. So maybe if I rewatched it, I'd enjoy it more when I wasn't so confused.
It's such a badass episode, though. Like, to be fair, one of them looks just like Marion.
Oh, the episode was great.
Because, like, it makes sense. This was canon that they did destroy the planet and all the witches are killed. This was always there, that we just never saw any of it. And to actually see Grievous go there and just start murdering everybody is great.
And anything that shows Grievous as an actual warrior that is to be feared is good in my books, because there's too much of him being shown as a pathetic
dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like they make him seem as vicious as he is, because he is such a vicious character, and it's nice to have that here. And because like the whole thing in Clone Wars, I mean, they do have the episode where he wants to destroy them because of Asajj Ventress, and this is essentially what came out of that.
Yeah.
Is Grievous technically a Sith?
No, but he's trained by Count Dooku, but he doesn't have any force powers. He's just trained in lightsaber fighting by Count Dooku.
He's trained in lightsaber fighting by having 2 extra arms.
He used them very smartly here. When he was dueling her, and she didn't notice until he says, "Oh, stab you."
Yeah, I figure if you've got a droid body, that can make up for not having the force a little bit.
It's supposed to, yeah.
I mean,
he was a great warrior before he was even a droid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason why he has the asthma issue is that was given to him, I guess, by Dooku to make him weaker, so that way he wouldn't be able to overtake Dooku. That was
we saw Mace Windu like force choke him and like crush his heart.
Also not canon.
That was in the
that needs to be canon because that was badass.
They should have made that canon.
That's stupid
because
that's not
he even
canon.
was wheezing at the beginning of
Revenge of
the Sith, because at the time that was canon.
Yes. I really wish I would have watched that show before I saw Revenge of the Sith in theater, because that movie would have been better had I watched that little show.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
I loved that little show.
Man, me too. I know I saw some of it, but I didn't see all of it before I saw the movies. But then I watched it for this podcast, and yeah, it's so good.
I watched it all live when it was on TV, or not live, but you know what I mean. Like
in your 3-minute increments.
I watched 3 or 4 random episodes of it like that.
I don't remember how I watched them. I think it was on Teletoon in Canada.
I remember
tuning each week.
Here it was played in between stuff. Like in between
episodes.
It was in between episodes of something, but I remember I had a thing out, so I could always make sure I didn't miss them, because I wanted to see them all.
I wish I would have, but I thought the end of I didn't even give it a chance.
I was really big in the Samurai Jack, which is very much the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's Getty Tartakovsky.
Yeah, same guy.
Same animation. So I loved it, and that's why I got so into it, because I was already big into Star Wars, and I love Samurai Jack. So
that makes sense. This first episode just showed is she doesn't die by the droid. She's picked the plans of this planet, and then she essentially can't get over her revenge, and leads to the leader's daughter getting killed.
Yeah, and she was just going along to try and keep the other 2 safe.
Yeah, I mean, she's being like, she didn't need to go get weapons. It was like, just wait until they're done. But she couldn't wait. She wanted revenge for what they did to her family, which I get it, but at the same time, like, you can't defeat the droid army.
And that peaceful witch, that was pretty cool.
That was.
Yeah. And and then she's like, just because we don't want to fight doesn't mean we can't defend ourselves.
And we've never seen that magic before either, I don't think.
It almost was like force lightning, but she didn't seem to be dark.
Yeah. I think it's just cool. It more like an EMP blast kind of thing, but it was very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I liked it.
And then Morgan Elsbeth at the end of this is sent off to go do her own thing. They're like, you can't live. You killed my daughter. Like, fuck you. The next episode is really good for it shows things that I've been wanting to see that we never got before. It shows how she meets Thrawn.
Yeah. It did show how Thrawn...
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, it shows Thrawn... I like how it shows his calculating nature, because, he's all for the Empire, but he's also all out for what he is doing. And he has his plans upon plans. That's what I loved about Thrawn, anyway.
Like I said, if you're up for Rebels, if you and Joel are up for Rebels this year, it'll give me an excuse to finally make those episodes that I said I would do 2 years ago. So, hey.
I am starting Rebels. I got
and Ahsoka, you got to watch Ahsoka because
I'm going to watch all of it now. Now that I know it's in Ahsoka, I got to watch it.
There's basically 3 villains in Ahsoka, and he's one of them.
I just remember the Timothy Zahn novels. He was really good in those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really good in Rebels too. He shows up later in the show, but it also does a good job of putting away his character to why he isn't in the movies. So
he saw the weakness that was going to cause the downfall of the Empire here. He names it right in this episode because he's like, it's this focus on just lining their own pockets is what's going to lead to their downfall, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and also that ship that they're trying to build, that they throw down her idea, that ship is in Rebels. They start to build it, but they even complain in Rebels 2 how it's too expensive. So they're building it in one spot in Rebels because Thrawn wants it to, but at the same time they're like, this is too expensive. So like her idea here does end up going into production.
Did anybody else get the feeling of like there was similarity between that and Darth Vader's TIE fighter, his more advanced one?
The wings are a little bit like it if you put them like it has 3 wings, but if you take 2 of those wings and then put them, they're close to the same kind of design.
I just wonder did they steal some of it for Darth Vader just to show him?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, what it really looked like to me was the clone fighters that we see in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah,
looked like those to me, but which were like a 3rd wing,
which were more technologically advanced than the TIE fighters because they just made them super cheap after.
Well, they didn't care,
right? Because they're expendable. Exactly.
They didn't give a shit about the people. And I think another thing nice about this episode, it shows you what her character was doing and how she took over this town that we see in Mandalorian season 2, to where she promised them that like, hey, I'll get you guys work. And then they end up just becoming all slaves essentially.
Yeah. Why did they let her get power in the first time? Well, this shows it. Yeah.
I like that. And also that character Pellin that talks to her, he is from the 3 or at least 2, at least one of the books. I'm sure probably all 3 of them. There's 3 Thrawn novels that Timothy Zahn wrote that are also canon now to the current timeline.
Oh, they are.
I only know this because I read the comic series that is based on the first novel, Thrawn, and he's in there, and it shows you how he meets Thrawn and how Thrawn kind of works up the chain. And the second book has already been made in the comics, but I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And I'm assuming there's a 3rd one coming at some point. But so that's where he's from.
He's in the New Republic era too.
He is? He lives that long?
He's part of the Shadow Council.
Oh.
Captain Pelion. Remember we see those holographic Shadow Council?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, I did not put that. That's cool. I did not realize that.
I'm just on the Wikipedia article.
No, that's still good. You're putting 2 and 2 together. And also that where she gets tested by that assassin that Thrawn sends to kill her, he is in Rebels too. And I want to say he is to me, he seems based on the alien race from Heir to the Empire that works for Zahn at one point, but I can't remember their names. But I feel like that's kind of what it was a reference to.
Okay.
Of Thrawn taking stuff he already invented and putting it back into canon. Optimus Zahn's a nice guy.
I like anything they do with that. Take some of that good stuff from Legacy that they just threw out and bring it back.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good stuff to use.
There is. There's some crud, but there's a lot of good. They have much they could draw inspiration from if they want to.
It's just cool to see her meeting Thrawn, and this is where she's offered to work for Thrawn, which you don't see her in Rebels because she hadn't been invented yet, but you can tell how she was involved, and this makes Ahsoka make more sense now, too.
Yeah.
So, good episode. Anything else you guys want to say about this one?
No.
Okay.
No, that's it.
And then
I think this was maybe my favorite one so far until the one we're about to talk about.
This one's okay for me.
I don't remember the third episode.
Next one. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah.
Because the third episode is the last one of Morgan Elsbeth, where it shows this is after the New Republic has taken over. Palpatine already went down the hole, and the New Alliance is sending people out, and that's what this is. The New Republic sending.
Yeah, it was like she walks in. I'm like, oh, they look completely out of place here. They walking into a bad situation.
Now I remember this episode. Okay. Yeah, I just blanked on this. Okay.
This is very much a reference to Mandalorian Season 2 because the town looks close to what Mando sees when he goes there.
When he goes there, yeah.
So,
because this is where the New Republic girl that came from this town showed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where she comes and then she tries to get Morgan Elsbeth to step down and wants them to join the New Republic, and that doesn't work out so well for her. But I mean, it's cool to see, like, you're getting more of what was also it makes more sense to why, I don't remember why does he go here, Mando? He was looking for a Jedi, right? That why he ends up here?
He was looking for a Jedi and he was told
to take Grogu. And
because Bo-Katan told him to go here, doesn't she?
Yes, Bo-Katan told him to go here.
That makes sense, because the end of this episode, after she's killed and the ship blows up, she sent a distress signal, and then Bo-Katan answers and says, hello? Hello? And then it
should answer. I didn't realize that was Bo-Katan.
Yeah, and in fact, it's Katie Sackhoff doing the voice.
I knew it was a familiar voice, and I couldn't place it.
Subtitles tells you it's Bo-Katan, by the way.
I always have subtitles on because I'm old.
Same. I just like subtitles and everything. I just find it... I don't like captions with the black bar, but I love subtitles.
One thing I do like, and I remember it's not new to this because it was in the Mandalorian episode, the droids that she has with her, they're HK models.
Oh, cool.
They're HK 87s.
Like from KOTOR.
From KOTOR.
Nice. That's a nice little reference.
Yeah. I always love that point because I love HK 47. He's my favorite KOTOR character. So any reference to him is a win.
I did not catch that. I'm even playing KOTOR 2 at the time of this recording, and I did not catch that that's an HK unit in here.
Yeah, they don't look much like them. There's a slight bit with the face that's similar.
I mean, it's only 1,000 years later.
Even while I was watching it, I was reading on Wikipedia.
It's a cool episode. I mean, it's just nice that it gives more context to how Ahsoka and Mando end up here together. Like, it does add to that, which is nice. So I have no problem with existing. It wasn't my favorite. I don't really care for Morgan Elsbeth, I realized, but I was happy to have more to have her make sense.
Yeah, I didn't. And maybe if I watched the other ones, I would care more. I didn't much care for her, but they were fine episodes. There was nothing wrong with them.
If you watched Ahsoka, it'd have more meaning to you because it's essentially you're missing that.
The next three I loved.
Yeah, the next three in a row, I just was like, oh, this is great. Oh, this is even better. Oh, this is even better. Yeah. Especially the first one.
Characters come back.
The first one is the best because the next arc, 3 episodes, takes place talking about Barris, which was a Padawan in the Clone Wars and she's the reason why Ahsoka left the Jedi Order because she framed Ahsoka for murder.
Right.
And I so wanted to know what happened to her. That's why I love these episodes.
She gets arrested and she disappeared.
Yep, that was it.
They left her to rot in prison.
But it also makes sense.
A tiny little cell. Maybe the Jedi are bad.
That's a terrible cell.
Yeah. Maybe the Jedi are the bad guys.
They've been known to be assholes.
In her cell. Like, I mean, even prisoners in real life, at least in America, aren't handcuffed in their cell.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And she don't even have a bed. She just has a concrete slab to lay on.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
There isn't a toilet in this room?
Nope.
Not shown.
Yeah, you don't see a toilet. So yeah, what you do? Just shit on the floor, I guess? Because the floor is graded.
You shit on the floor.
That's a good point. Where are the toilets? You're asking the important questions.
About cartoons, they very rarely draw toilets.
We don't want
even in the cell Leia's in New Hope, we don't see a toilet.
We don't want people to think characters shit.
That's actually, George Lucas said that. He said you don't want, and you know what? It's funny because Gene Roddenberry made the same comment when doing Star Trek. They never showed toilets on Star Trek either for the same reason. You don't want people to think about in the future you having to go to the bathroom.
It's just part of life. But I get it from also for Star Trek could have been simple as, we see a toilet, we got to ban this show. It's too radical.
Yeah, maybe.
But he made a point of not wanting to show toilets. He had a few things. He also didn't believe bras existed in space.
Oh, he also didn't believe in marriage. I like Gene Roddenberry, but he also wasn't a very good father either, I don't think.
Yeah.
But no, I get it. I completely get where you're coming from.
He had some dumb ideas.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's just kind of something I was thinking about. Like, you could have done, you guys already made the Jedi aren't that great. But It is cool, and it also makes sense that, like, yes, she was against the Jedi, but now the Jedi are the devil, so it makes sense that, in a way, her crimes are now revoked.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that would happen in real life. Let's say here you went to a certain big white building, and then that person becomes president eventually. I don't think you're going to get a pardon. I just don't think that's going to work. It works in science fiction, though.
You know, it's kind of a funny thing if you think about, like, when we invaded Iraq the second time.
Yeah.
Right? We released all the people from the Abu Ghraib, which was the, Saddam Hussein's, like, political prison. And then we just started using it to do our own, torture and stuff in. But still, I just say it's kind of like, it actually makes sense. Like, when there's a regime change, they let all the political prisoners go.
They typically do, yeah.
Or some of them, at least.
Especially any that are in there that might help you against the
Exactly.
Help you overthrow or who sided with you.
And then, yeah. No, okay, I'm jumping ahead there. I'm not going to do that.
It's just cool. Like, I do like how, also that the Sith that comes to get her, Lynn, who was a Jedi, I don't think she was ever mentioned before this. I don't recognize her.
I was wondering, because she seemed familiar, but I couldn't find anything about it.
Even when I just Googled Lynn Sith, nothing came up, so.
Yeah, I was curious if she was something too.
Lynn Rakesh is a name. Let me see. She's on the Fourth Sister. I guess she was in the Obi-Wan show, I think, or the characters in Obi-Wan show.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's why she probably looks familiar.
The Inquisitors in that?
Yeah, the Inquisitors were hunting Obi-Wan. You just had the really ugly version of that I don't remember that character's name, the woman that was a kid that watched Anakin kill people.
Right.
Yeah. 8th sister, I think, or 9th. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was.
They just go by numbers mostly.
I mean, it's just, again, if you're going to, indoctrinate a society and indoctrinate these people, like, numbers are what you use. So,
right.
Some really cool things, like when Barris is taken and brought into the like, one, you see clone troopers everywhere to show you this is very early on to when the Empire happened. Like, you even have the scene on fire, and the guys even said, be glad you're not a Jedi. So, like,
yeah.
Right.
And when they fly her out to the ocean planet, you see that base that you go to in
Outcast,
yes, comic.
Right.
Yeah, because that's where they train all the Inquisitors, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish we had kept.
Oh, go ahead.
I wish we had kept Starkiller.
Yeah, agreed. I think you could do some cool stuff with that.
Maybe they'll bring him back someday. Maybe they'll work him in the canon.
Made it work. They could have figured out a way to make it work.
All they had to do was just say that the story was canon, but not the powers were. So he's like as strong as any General Jedi. So
that's the guy who also played Darth Maul, isn't it?
Yes, he did the voice of Darth Maul.
He did the voice of Darth Maul too. Yeah,
he's also a huge Star Wars fan.
He's the only one to correct Dave Filoni.
Yes. Oh, you saw that too? I was going to bring that up. Yeah, there was something where he's like, wait, no, they saw each other already in this. He's like, oh yeah, or they make a comment about it. You can't have that. It's like, oh yeah, it's cool. I mean, I enjoyed seeing this base. I like the way that they essentially, I'm assuming all three of these people were Padawans that at some point voiced they didn't like the Jedi.
Right.
At some point they were kicked out or whatever.
Had been kicked out or had left for some reason.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. That's exactly who they would go for.
Yeah.
Except it wasn't the Grand Inquisitor just like, he was never actually kicked out. He was like still a guard, wasn't he?
He was angry. Yeah. He was just mad that he couldn't read the books in the library, which is canon.
Is that really what it was?
Yes. He was upset that Jocasta would not let him read some books, and he's retconned that he's in Rebels. Or no, he's retconned that he's in Clone Wars. At one point when you see the Jedi Order when Ahsoka is arrested and there are people wearing masks, one of them is supposed to be the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
So in the Darth Vader comics that take place after Episode 3, before Episode 4, there's a scene where when the early arcs where he's sitting in the library reading books and complaining about how, Jocasta, you never let me read these books before, you bitch. Essentially, that's what he's saying. And that's really all it is. Like, he's just upset, and that's why he joined the Sith, because he couldn't read the books.
That's funny.
So, I don't like him. Yes, he is. I mean, there's more to it, but I mean, that plays a part. I don't like him at all, especially not in live action. I just don't like the way he looks in Obi-Wan, but yeah, he's fine in this. Like, it's cool to have him there. It's cool to see how they have the two fight to the death because there's only room for one.
Yeah, that was very cool. I was like, oh, I bet they're going to make them kill each other now.
It's funny because I think I saw that literally in something just recently I was watching too. They did the exact same thing, and I'm like, wow.
Batman Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah. We only got room for one.
That's what it was too. You're right. That is exactly what it was.
And have them fight over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I
was like, oh yeah, they're doing some Dark Knight shit in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those.
No, that was really good. It's an excellent way to show how even with the Inquisitors, they're picking ones they think they can easily control and turn, but they're still also making sure they're ruthless and you fight. I mean,
also, all the Inquisitors are a lot weaker than Vader, like way weaker.
Oh yeah.
None of them
by design.
Yeah, none of them were great.
Anybody who would have a chance of challenging him, he was just going to kill outright and not give a chance.
Right.
To become an Inquisitor.
We'll admit they have great armor designs. I love the design of all the Inquisitors whenever they show them.
Well, I like their lightsaber. As weird as it is, I still like it.
It is a cool lightsaber.
Yeah.
Because it's in the end of this episode after she murders her friend and she becomes an Inquisitor. The ones that they show is they show her, they show Lynn, they show, I forget the guy's name. He gets killed in Rebels, but he's also in Ahsoka. He's the one that's come back in Ahsoka as a Wraith. And then there's also that weird hawk mask guy from the Tales of Jedi show who died.
Oh, okay. Right.
But the guy standing next to him is killed in Rebels, but he was also in Ahsoka, so it makes sense that they have him here. He gets killed. Either he gets killed by Ahsoka in Rebels, or he gets killed by Darth Maul. I can't remember who kills him, but one of them kills him. But like I knew where all of them but Lynn went to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Vader shows up, and they realize he's your new boss. And I was wondering, they don't say anything, but I was wondering if Barris realized who he is. She could sense it, but it doesn't say it.
I
don't know.
I liked having Vader show up there. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was great when he came in there at the end.
Yeah, it wasn't overused. It's just one scene of him. Like, it's nice just to have him there.
And he was pretty much hands off with the Inquisitors from what we've seen.
Yeah, but I felt like this episode in particular was maybe the best of the whole series. And for me, it was my favorite of the whole series. Yeah, I think it was maybe my favorite. Yeah.
No, it's a good episode. It's really good, and I love seeing.
There's actually another one coming up later. I think I like more than this one, but
I don't care for this next episode too much, where Barris and Lynn go to a planet to kill a Jedi.
It was just predictable.
It felt like Obi-Wan.
It did feel exactly like Obi-Wan.
It felt like Obi-Wan. Yeah. I mean, I think it was supposed to.
Yeah, it probably was. I mean, considering Lynn, I didn't realize Lynn is an Obi-Wan. It just tells you how kind of I forgot about it all. Right. I also never rewatched Obi-Wan.
No, I've only watched it once. I'll say. Something from the last episode, just one more thing, was when they were going to be, the two of them killed, like Barris kept insisting, well, they're not going to actually let us die. But then he attacked her, and so then she killed him, right? But she kept saying, well, they're not going to actually let us die. And then this one, she's like shocked when she kills the Jedi she's there to kill.
Yeah,
She really convinced herself these were the good guys now. The Jedi were wrong, and these are the good guys.
Yeah, it was a little something.
Yeah, I don't understand why she doesn't understand how evil they are and what their plans are and how much they hate the Jedi. Like, I don't get why she's that confused at this point. Like, she should be well aware of who she's siding with at this point. I mean, again, she had nothing
to kill to become the next one. You better realize how evil the people you are with.
You know, like, I mean, she solves the problem because when she goes to town, nobody will tell them that Jedi's there, and she starts talking to a little boy and gets him to say the Jedi's here, and then Lynn she's like, oh, you told me there was no Jedi here, huh? And just murders everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody but the kid, so he can tell other people.
And I think she would probably murder the kid if Barris wasn't there.
Yes. But at the same time, like, that's how you create your legend. That's how you create your fear, is by leaving somebody to tell the tale. And then they're going to tell the tale to someone else, going to tell the tale to someone else, and then it's going to get quadrupled and multiplied to where it was that, she killed 20 Jedi by herself. Even though they don't know what Jedi are at this point, because Han Solo thinks Jedi are a myth. Which doesn't make sense still to this day.
No, but it's fine.
Jedi are a myth. Well, back when you were around, they were the whole Jedi council on a planet. Like, come on now. But I get,
Well, I think I don't remember if it was you guys I talked about this with before. I still think, it was, that Jedi were meant to be more rare than what we see them in media, so that they could be just a legend.
Oh, when they made the first Star Wars movie, you mean? Yeah.
When they made the Star Wars, I think they were meant to be very rare. Yeah. Like, even though they existed, they were not, like, most people would never see them.
I think someone else mentioned too, I think maybe George Lucas might have mentioned it, but they mentioned it somewhere else where he's like, well, yeah, episode 1, 2, and 3, you see a lot of Jedi because you're focusing on a Jedi. If you were to focus on someone else, like, give an example, you see The Mandalorian, that whole first season where it's just him, and at the very end, Luke comes in and kills like almost everyone. Season 2, yeah.
But also, to be fair, this takes place after episode 6 when all the Jedi are missing anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. I get what you mean.
Yeah, but also don't forget, Mike, there's only ever one Keyblade Master. Only ever one. There's only ever one Keyblade Master.
So you retcon it. That's great.
They retcon the shit out of it.
Yeah, so the Barris, when they go up the mountain and then they find the Jedi, and then Barris says, hey, we won't kill you, then Lynn just stabs them.
Yeah.
Which, Barris turning against Lynn is kind of like, I get it, because she's just like, fuck you guys, like, I'll kill you and then we'll both go missing. Even though she doesn't kill her, she just throws her off a mountain. Like, you gotta finish people in Star Wars.
Yeah, especially Jedi.
Yeah, you can't just. That's why I still think Mace Windu's gonna show up at some point. Still do. But maybe they're like, at this point, it'll be like he just shows up and goes, I'm still alive, motherfuckers. Like, it just won't work as well.
So where have you been to help us in the last 20 years?
What was the joke that they had a while ago? That fucking who was the villain for 7 and 8?
Snoke.
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, Snoke. That Snoke was Mace Windu, and that it was just, he just got his.
Is dumb.
Yeah, his skin tone changed because of the lightning, and that the big scar on his face is from when Anakin knocks him out of the window when he's just been deteriorating from the dark side of the Force.
I think that's worse than what actually would happen.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. I mean,
that's
Snoke thing is pretty dumb too, but that's pretty dumb. I hate the Snoke thing. That's a whole nother story.
What is he? Palpatine clone?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a clone.
He's a failed clone of Palpatine or something.
Failed clone, but then with no soul, really.
That's stupid.
Don't even get me started when it comes to that sequel trilogy. They haven't fixed that yet. They're working on it, but they haven't gotten there yet.
They need to start releasing more stuff if they're going to fix it.
I'm never watching that fucking the end of that trilogy ever.
You should watch Rise of Skywalker once. You watch it once, and you never watch it again.
Movie. If you can look past the errors, it's still a fun movie.
Hey Jody.
Yeah.
They fly now?
They fly now.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say right there. Or my other favorite one is somehow Palpatine returned, which is a line in that movie. Somehow.
It is.
My favorite thing to say about that is that they announced that Palpatine returned in Fortnite.
They did?
Yeah.
It was in Fortnite. That was how they announced it before the movie came out. They played the audio of the recording of Palpatine giving orders and ordering people to find whatever it was. But yes, they revealed it.
I will say
it was a cross-media thing.
That movie was better when I thought it was more based on the books until I actually learned how they did it, and it wasn't quite the same as what they had done previously. That's what I liked, that it was from that, and then I'm like, but then they changed this and this and this and all that. So yeah. Anyway,
watch that.
Different matter.
Joe, watch it once. Just get high. Watch it. You'll enjoy it more as you're high because you won't remember the things that don't make sense, and you're good to go.
No, look, I'm finding my own little bubble where there are only 2 Star Wars episodes, and it was the end of episode 7. They killed Snoke, and then Rey looked at Kylo Ren, and they went, bygones be bygones, and they shook hands, and they went their separate ways. And that's where the movie ends, and nothing else happens after that.
I mean, to be fair, Rise of Skywalker wants you to forget that Last Jedi even exists.
Yeah.
Well,
they act like it didn't exist.
It acts as if it just didn't happen.
Yes.
Well, Rise of Skywalker can suck my asshole, so as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's fine. Watch it once. I say it's fine, but then again, we shitted on it for 2 hours in a previous episode. I was very upset with myself for rewatching it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's the one where you guys convinced me it actually wasn't good. Like what I tried to convince myself of.
We beat you down in that one. Hey, I will never forget. I saw that movie in theaters. I was so happy. I thought it was a great movie. I literally cried in the theaters. I was just so touched. And then my dumbass watched it for this podcast and went, oh, no.
Well, that's what happened with me. I loved it in theaters. And then I watched it for the podcast, and I'm like, this is not nearly as good as I thought it was.
And I remember Kerry could tell me, he's like, it's not good. And I'm like, but I loved it. But I know you're right. And then I was like, oh, no, you're right. You're so right.
It's just if you don't watch anything else before it, you can forget all the inconsistencies.
Be your first and only Star Wars movie, and you're good to go.
Well, it had been a while when I went to see it in theater since I had watched anything.
The last episode of Tales of the Empire. This shows what happened with Barris. It shows that she went to some ice planet and she's healing people now because apparently the healing power isn't that rare.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's not rare again.
I don't mind it. I just remember people getting mad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things of you've been healing with the Force in video games for 30 years.
Yeah.
So whenever Rey did it and everyone freaked out, I'm like, but that's like a Jedi power.
Yeah.
It was just rare in the movies because nobody ever really got injured in the movies without dying.
Yeah, and Skywalker's the only Jedi, so Luke can't do it. Okay, that's it. Like, it isn't a rare feat.
It could just be that he was never taught how to do it.
Yeah, he was never
Not
taught.
by
It's
anybody.
probably something they teach at the Jedi Academy. It's probably something they
honestly,
can all
Luke
do.
could barely do anything if you think back to those movies.
Yeah, he don't have a lot
getting his
of powers.
lightsaber half the time.
He fights with a blaster in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not, I mean, his first master got cut in half, and his second master was tired and died.
Yeah.
So, like, he didn't really have a master.
Yeah.
Yoda was sleepy. So, I mean, it is
That's
cool.
a funny way to put it, but it's true.
Yeah, I know. It is cool to see Barris, like, so...
Yeah.
The whole so she's healing people, and then Lynn does finally track her down because she's hunting a kid that has the Force, and then Lynn leads her essentially into a cave that is supposed to be like the cave from Empire Strikes Back, where you see your own visions of yourself or whatever the hell, your darkness.
One that she can never leave unless she balances. I never quite understood that part.
I think that's what is the idea that if you don't, you have to. I mean, the whole idea of the Force and the whole idea of Star Wars is the balance of the Force. It's just that, I always make that joke about Qui-Gon Jinn. He's like, I mean, Anakin did bring balance to the Force. It's not what they thought. They just misinterpreted it. Still brought balance.
It's my favorite part of that series.
I mean, you had 2 Sith and you had 300 Jedi. Well, we changed it. And then we decided to make more Sith and more Jedi, but, they balanced out a lot better. So, it's really cool to see. And I guess the idea is that Lynn finally gives up the dark side while she's running around in the ice cave. But does she kill Barris? I think she stabs her at the end of this.
No, it's she stabs her on accident, and then she feels bad and carries her out, and it ends with her saying, I'm going to help you, and takes her out. And I think that's where it ends, right?
It is.
It is.
And she leaves her lightsaber behind. She leaves her Inquisitor saber in the cave.
So past this, those two are never mentioned again.
So my thought is that she took her somewhere and tried to save her.
Yeah.
So is it implied that technically, because depending on the age difference, because Lynn, is that the right one? Is much older?
Lynn's much older. I got the impression of.
I don't know how much older she's supposed to be.
I mean,
yeah.
I was
They don't
basically
say.
I was getting at this might be after episode 6 is what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah. So
Barris was still not much more than a teenager, like Ahsoka at the beginning of this. And then by this
in this episode, she looks old. Yeah, she has wrinkles on her face and stuff. So I'm trying to think. She tell one of them that? Well, no, because the Inquisitors are still around.
Yeah, so Inquisitors are on. So it had to be before 6.
So it's still before episode 4. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. I forgot. There's a whole. I forgot. There's a.
So she can't be she's older, but she can't be that much older. There's only 10 years there.
My bad.
Really? She can't be much more than 30.
Yeah.
And yet she was a teenager when she started. Maybe her species ages fast.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just some face wrinkles. They probably just wanted to show that she was older, but old enough where this could probably take place before 4. Because I completely forgot that fucking episode 4 takes place 15, 18 years later.
20 years later, after 3. This is definitely takes place before episode 4.
Is Luke 20?
Because it's 20.
Luke is 19.
He's supposed to be 19, yeah.
When it starts.
Yeah, so she's probably in her 30s. Yeah, that makes sense.
And you also have, when it comes to the Inquisitors, in Rebels, all the Inquisitors are gone in Rebels. And Rebels takes place over the course of 4 or 5 years and gets up to and ends a year before Battle Before Yavin, and all of them are gone within the first couple of years. They finish up what's left, and as we see it in the other games that they made so far, and the comics. In the comics, in the Darth Vader comic, it shows Vader kill almost all the Inquisitors too, because they try to turn against him. Because who would have guessed that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he kills them. He kills most of them.
I wonder what happened to them all.
He gets betrayed. If you can believe this, Palpatine betrays him in the comics. I mean, who would have guessed Palpatine would betray him? But Palpatine essentially tries to kill him with the Inquisitors. So
okay.
He kills a bunch of the Inquisitors. I mean, some get killed by different ways. Grand Inquisitor and a couple others get killed in different things, and they do show their deaths. But Rebels is where the Inquisitors are introduced, and you only have about 3 of them in that show.
Oh, wow.
And then all 3 of them do not make it out of that show.
So they don't replace their numbers. There's 11 it mentions here. I guess they don't replace their numbers as they come up.
They only got so many Padawans and stuff, and then they just kind of ran out of people, I guess, because I think they were working on it. They were working on taking babies and then getting them to be Force users, but I don't think the Empires are around long enough to make that happen.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, you in order to do that, you need to actually, stick around for more than 20 years. But I mean, it gets me excited to see what will happen eventually if they'll bring back Barris and Lynn, because now they can. They essentially show, yes, she's alive. We can, they can introduce her at some point if they want to. I don't think they will, but they could.
I always liked Barris. I liked the character, and I liked didn't like when she turned on Ahsoka, but I liked that storyline.
It's a good storyline.
Yeah, and I was really curious what would happen to her. So I liked these 3 episodes for showing. It put a nice cap on that. Even if we never see her again, well, we know what they were trying to do.
Bang, and I liked it.
Her motivations and what she did to the Jedi make complete sense to me, actually. Her motivations in betraying Ahsoka never made any sense to me.
I think it was by accident because Ahsoka was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
But then she frames her, and she even impersonates Asajj Ventress to
Yeah, I think it's more of
or to sell it.
It was getting too hot, so she had.
Yeah, I think that was another case of this happened. I didn't mean to put it on her, but now it is, and now I gotta follow through with this because it can't come back on me.
Yeah,
it's been a bit since I watched those episodes, but I feel like she wasn't trying to get Ahsoka in trouble at first, but then maybe she is. I can't remember. It's been a bit, but also
she's not at first. At first, Ahsoka just gets caught up in it, and then she goes with it.
It just didn't make a ton of sense than the fact that Ahsoka was her only friend in the Jedi.
Yeah,
but I guess if you're going to go along with the corrupt system, you're going to go down with the corrupt system.
Yeah. And right now, there is no announcement of another season of the Tales stuff coming out. They haven't said anything
though, if
yet.
this last one only just came out last year, it is still a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, originally I had heard that we were supposed to get a Tales of the Jedi Season 2, and one of the episodes was supposed to deal with Baylan Skoll from Ahsoka, but that obviously never materialized.
I would give it a little bit. Something's going on with Disney's animation department, which I feel maybe AI might have something to do with it, but they've really been not pushing out as much stuff as they said. What was supposed to come out a year or two ago, that Spider-Man animated series, and
that's coming out.
Yeah, it's finally coming out
now this year.
Oh, yeah, is it? Okay,
that was announced 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, no, everything's gotten delayed. Well, they slowed down too because they lost a lot of money because they were pumping out too much stuff too quick, and people weren't even able to watch it. And then, of course, it was also junk, half of it.
And they learned that Disney Plus doesn't print money like they thought it would too. I mean, I think they really thought okay, we're going to get millions of. I mean, they did get millions, but streaming, you can't make we talking about you can't make that expensive a show and be we're going to make our money back. You're just not.
No, yeah, you get it through subscription, so you have to do lower quality to do that. But lower quality in the animations and that kind of stuff. Don't skip on the stories where nobody's going to watch it.
Yeah, they didn't know that.
Yeah, they put a ton of money. Well, they did that with Acloyte. They basically said the reason they canceled it, other than the backlash, was also the fact that they realized how much money they spent into it.
Yeah, I mean, that played such a big part. But I am hoping that we get more of this. I do want more, so I'm hoping we get it.
Yeah.
And we should go to Shelf Stacker Box for Tales of the Empire. I'll go first this time. I'm going to put this one in the stack. I don't enjoy this one as much as the other. Still good, but I just don't. It's just not the same for me. And Kerry.
Yeah, I'd say I like it as much or probably more than Tales of the Jedi, but still I don't see myself rewatching it. So I guess that's stack, right?
You can either or, however you.
Yeah, so I guess that's the stack. So
I won't watch this again. I didn't even finish it for the watch through of this episode. I didn't finish Tales of the Empire. I watched 4 of the 6 episodes. I just stopped. And Jody.
Yeah, I'm going to stack this one. I shelved the first one, like I said, all about the first episode. This one stack. It's just not. I did enjoy it. Maybe after I watch Ahsoka, I'll like the first half more. But even with the Barris ones that I liked, I'm not going to watch it again. But I'm glad we had it.
Okay. And Joe, I know you didn't get a chance to watch this, right?
Yeah, this is on my to-be watch list. To be fair, low-key kind of glad I didn't watch it. So I'm not going to lie to y'all. I still haven't watched a lot of Rebels and Ahsoka and stuff. So all these characters you guys have mentioned don't make any goddamn fucking sense to me. So now I have some knowledge. Now I have some knowledge to whenever I watch this for real.
I mean, and like I said earlier, if you guys want to watch Rebels, I already know, you guys, it will get me the incentive to record about it this year. But also, but I'm glad we finally did this because I really wanted to get. I wanted to do this. I remember Tales of Jedi came out back out in 2022. I was like, we should cover that. And now we are in 2025. Like, oh yeah, we should really get that done. So thank you guys. All right, I guess we should just go to plugs. And Jody, where can people find you at? Can't remember if you think plug or not.
Yeah, well, I'm on Blue Sky now. You can look at Buck Wheel on Blue Sky. I'm there. I'm also doing this challenge for 2025, 12 RPGs. I'm going to try and finish some ones that I haven't finished before.
Nice. You just gotta I mean, it's going to sound bad, but just force yourself to play. I mean, it works for me, but I'm special.
That, and I'm also picking one. It's all ones that I've partially played before, just hadn't finished. So
okay, that's good. You're doing that. Yeah. And Kerry.
Hey, so I'm Kerooseta, Kerooseta on YouTube and Twitch. I modify and repair video game consoles, and just stream kind of whatever I'm playing at the time. A lot of Elden Ring, a lot of Persona. So check me out.
And is your son still on YouTube?
Yeah, he's got like 700 subscribers on YouTube. NatroP_Dragons, NATROPY. Does mostly art stuff. A lot of makes these dragon puppets and shows those. So,
it's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's gotten a lot of followers. And I'm sure there's been some people there who listen to this who went and subscribed to him.
Yeah, I bet. I definitely appreciate it.
We reach a lot of people actually on this show.
Yeah.
You never know. All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 750 other episodes of this podcast, you can find everything we do on Podbean. We do movies, TV shows, video games, comics, all sorts of stuff. To hear all our Star Wars content, if you want to look at our giant catalog of Star Wars, and you will see in the show notes, you will see every Star Wars episode we have done. There's over 60 of them at this point. It's ridiculous. So there's more coming now. If I'm in the mood about that, if you want to support the show, we do have Patreon. Little dog, vote in our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 every month, so definitely go do that. Just a little $1 always, and you get to affect the show. And if you want to talk with us, you want to be on the show, if you want to suggest things, we have a Discord. You can join our Discord. You will see a link to the show notes of this episode. Please join us. We're always happy to have new people talk with us. And I want to get started on my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fury. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. If you go check her out and check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. He is back now. So you can listen to him talk about Final Fantasy VII. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube. Rate your podcasting. That's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye. See ya.
Sayonara.